I'm going to recite you something I wrote, and there's a message inside it that I want you to kind of hear or look for, and then I'm going to repeat it and kind of explain how that relates to failure, because I think it's an important thing. So now I'm going to recite what I wrote. Sometimes I wonder if this isn't home, and I don't mean Paris or London or Rome. I'm talking about another place, before this time and outside this space. A place where I come from and will go to again. A world so mysterious it makes my head spin. This world is all magic with a glow that's so bright. When I squeeze my eyes shut, I still feel the light. Some call it heaven, some paradise. To me, it's a party where everyone's nice. We have friends who will meet us with warm, open hands and music to greet us like grand marching bands. It's the place where we plan who we'll be with and when. We pick out our names like Sarah or Ben, or Williams, Rodriguez, Ivana for Chin. Whoever we choose will feel like our kin. We decide on our lessons, the paths we will take, awards we might go for, and mistakes we might make. For life isn't easy and not always fun, but easy is boring, like games always won. So we set up our challenges and mountains so high to test our endurance and reach for the sky. It doesn't much matter if we get to the top. What matters much more is what we do when we stop. Do we smell the roses, admire the bees, and enjoy the sensation of a warm ocean breeze? Or do we stew and we fuss and blame someone else instead of taking a look back into ourselves? Do we ask for help and give in return? It's best when we realize there's a lesson to learn. As wise men once said, what matters in the end, does the love you receive match the love you spend? I have one piece of wisdom for a smart kid like you, advice I hope you'll hear and realize it's true. Abandon all jealousy, anger, and greed, and open your heart to people in need. Give yourself freely with no fear and no doubt, and then you'll be proud of how you turned out. So when you're back home and see your old friends, all will sing and rejoice and cheer in the end. It doesn't much matter if we get to the top. What matters much more is what we do when we stop. Isn't that kind of what failure it is? We set up our challenges and mountains so high to test our endurance and reach for the sky, but really it doesn't much matter if we get to the top. What matters much more is what we do when we stop. I have failed more times than I can count. I've tried more things than I could probably explain. And I've been through failure in so many different ways, in so many different levels. I've lost everything I've owned more than once. And I tell you, worrying about it is a lot scarier than doing it, but it's still not fun to get down to zero, nothing. That's probably what failure is. I've also had situations where one time I lost my business. I was going through foreclosure on my house. I was going through bankruptcy. A relationship ended, and my dog died, pretty much all at the same time. And it doesn't much matter if we get to the top. What matters much more is what we do when we stop. And I tell you, I've been to that place where you curl in a ball and you get on the sofa and you can't move for days, and all you do is wail and cry and wail and cry. Very real. Doesn't much matter if we get to the top. What matters much more is what we do when we stop. I've also tried on that little hat called victim. Oh, poor me. And you've probably been on Facebook or social media and seen people like, oh, my life is so awful and feel sorry for me. And I tried that on, and there's some power in that. There's some energy in that. You get people saying, no, you're going to be great. And you feel that a little bit. But after a while, it really didn't work. Doesn't much matter if we get to the top. What matters much more is what we do when we stop. And I've blamed people, too. And I've said, okay, it's their fault, and their fault, and their fault. And I've been there. That doesn't feel very good either, because I had to look back into myself and figure out why did this happen and what can I learn from it. It doesn't much matter if we get to the top. What matters much more is what we do when we stop. Why me? Existential crisis. Why am I here? I tried this thing, I failed. I tried this business, I failed. I tried this project and it didn't work and it didn't reach the people it was supposed to reach. Then why am I here? So I've been through that too. It doesn't much matter if we get to the top. What matters much more is what we do when we stop. And then I got to the point I thought, if everything I do fails, if that's my pattern, if that's my life lesson, if that's what I signed up for before I came here, what does that mean? Do I stop? And then I realized what really matters doesn't much matter if we get to the top. What matters much more is what we do when we stop. And I decided that the answer is not to stop. And that there's joy in the trying. And to enjoy the trying, enjoy the experience of going out there and doing something that no one's ever done before. And if you don't succeed based on whatever criteria you set or the world sets, it's okay. Enjoy the trying.